Is that working now? Oh my god, I just logged into YouTube and like everything's completely different. They've added some kind of weird beta streaming thing since I was on the other day and it's all totally different. Oh my god. Thanks for the notice. Thanks for the letting us know, YouTube. Excellent upgrades. Hi baby. How you doing? It's Miss Maddie. Hi baby. How you doing? Hi guys. Cody, Combi, Tabitha, Joy, Laura, Lisa, hi everyone. And several names there that I see that have signed up for my Patreon in the last week. So thank you for that. Nice to have you on board. If you're interested in supporting the channel and joining my Patreon, link is down below. I do all sorts of stuff really. Usually if I do a YouTube video, the like $1 tier get to see it in advance, and if it's a live stream like this you get a demonetized version, and above that grade we do all sorts of fun art journal-y, Book of Shadows type astrology, tarot, witchy stuff, arty things. Come and play. Anyway, I'm struggling to see, because they've moved everything, I'm struggling to see my screen. So let me just see if I can... I can't find out how to pop out the chat like I normally do. Hang on. Oh, here it is. Ah, there we go. That's what I needed. Because I like to have my chat in my line of sight, so I'm not looking at like this off camera. So I've now lost a whole series of chat. Sorry about that. So if you said hello, I think the last person I saw was Katie. So if you said hello after Katie, hi, I missed you. You've just downloaded the streaming interface. Oh, it's completely changed since the last time I used it last week. In a week it's changed totally. I'm like, it's a good job I know what I'm doing with tech, because I'd just be sitting here. Although I can see, I tell you what's cool, I can see the captioning on the video, which is kind of cool. Although I prefer to see the video where it's real time of what I'm doing as opposed to what you're seeing, so that I can check that I'm in frame. But it is kind of cool to see the closed captioning coming up, because apparently it understands what I'm saying most of the time. Yeah, I keep dropping out and coming back and dropping out and coming back. I wasn't sure what was going on. Sorry guys. They changed everything. Anyway, One Book July. We are... Oh, there's flies everywhere. It's so hot today, and we had thunderstorms and everything last night, so it's really humid. So there's millions of flies everywhere, and they're driving me insane. But never mind. We're going to do One Book July today, of course. But first, new toys! New toys! If you're in my Patreon or my classes, you'll know about this already. Arteza have sent me some new stuff to play with. They send you the stuff on the grounds that you do a review, but they have no strings. It's not like they don't pay you for the review, so you have to be nice about them or anything like that. I will be as brutal as I always am. In fact, I'm usually brutal even if they do pay me. But I tried to go for stuff that I hadn't seen that many other people reviewing, and I've specifically wanted to do mixed media. So I've picked the mixed media sheets. This is the A5 pads. They didn't have the bigger pads that I wanted. I picked some watercolour pencils. I only picked the 24 set, and they've sent me like 72, which is crazy. Who needs that many pencils? But, you know, they're artist quality. They're light fast and all that, so we'll give them a go, shall we? I picked some gel pens because they're listed as gel pens, but they also say they're rollables. So I'm kind of hoping that they're like ballpoints more than gel pens. That would be quite nice. But if not, you know, I can always use gel pens as water-based. To go with water-based, I got these water brushes. Now, everybody who does, or not everybody I've seen do Arteza reviews, and it is Arteza, not Arteza, ooh, I don't know. It's simple, just ask them and they tell you how to pronounce it. It's Arteza, okay? Since a lot of my viewers and a lot of my students are older ladies who are starting to have issues with their hands, carpal tunnel, starting to get rheumatoid arthritis, I have it myself, you know, all that kind of stuff, I thought I'd get these with the big handles because these are similar to the Pentel Aquash that I've used before, which I really liked, but they were hard to squeeze and I didn't love that. So I thought I would try these instead of the red ones that everybody goes for. I also have, instead of watercolours, because obviously you've got watercolour pencils, I went for gouache. Now I asked them for the metallic set, but apparently that's out of stock because they've sent me the Monster 60 set that includes the metallic set. So this is going to be fun because, you know, my big thing at the moment is gouache. I'm totally doolally for gouache at the moment. I've been out gouache painting this morning, which was challenging. First time doing it outdoors. They've got some unusual colours in here. They look like they're mostly artist quality. Mostly they have 3 or 2.5 stars for light fastness, which means they're premium artist quality. Should be fun to play with. It's weird because I thought, I don't know, there's something about the Arteza brand and the way they advertise and stuff that it just feels like somewhere around the idea of, you know, Reeves or Royal Langnickel or something like that, you know, the bargain basement brands, especially when you look at their prices. But all of these seem to say artist quality, so it'd be interesting to see if they actually are as good as they would appear from the packaging. I do like the packaging, I've got to say. It's kind of cool. So that's going to be something I'll be doing, playing with. And like I say, I will be doing mixed media, but I'll do... Missed it? No, I've just started. I started late today because I've been out urban sketching. Yeah, so I've got 5 products to review individually, but also mixed media stuff. So I will be playing with those shortly. And now, back to our advertised program. I just wanted to show that because I've got... oh, it's too hot, I can't think. There's going to be a lot of umming and ahhing today because my brain is just like, oh, it's too hot for this. Advertised program. One Book July. Bullet journaling. So, I've been watching a few videos and a few live chats and stuff like that, and there's a couple of things that I already know I want to clear up. So, first off, you have Arteza and you like them, they're on a par with Prisma. Prismacolor? Or did you mean to put Prima? I'm not made for this heat. I don't mind it hot. It was nice and hot yesterday and it was okay. But it's really humid today. And that I can't deal with. And I can't deal with the bugs. The bugs bug me. Ugh. Anyway, a couple of things to clear up. One of the things that I've seen repeatedly asked in other people's streams is, what does Ro mean when she talks about creativity, arty BuJos, and so on? Okay, let me explain. That'll take too long. Let me sum up. Bonus points if you know where that is come from. Arty BuJo. When I talk about arty bullet journals, I am specifically talking about the ones that you see or have seen up until when the book came out, when it was all beautifully decorated spreads and artwork, literally artwork and calligraphy wall to wall. You know, you look at these, the ones you see on Pinterest when you search for bullet journal, and it's all beautiful, and you're like, your jaw drops, and you say things like, I can't do that, or wow, that's a lot of lettering, or oh, that's a lot of time. When people are doing arty bullet journals, Princess Bride, correct, well done, Lisa. When people are doing arty bullet journals, they are the people who have done bullet journaling in the basic form, tried it, said, yeah, I like this, and then added other stuff to it. So that is almost a style in and of itself now. The arty bullet journal is almost a phenomenon on its own. If that's what floats your boat and that's what you want to do, awesome. A lot of people love it because it gives them an outlet for being creative, doing a little bit of painting, a little bit of drawing, a little bit of calligraphy, whatever it is that they really enjoy, making their own planners. Sometimes it's all about the layout and not about the art. And that is their outlet for it. Most of those people, not all of them by any means, but most of those people don't actually keep a separate sketchbook for art, or a separate journal for journaling, or a separate planner for strictly planning. You know, they are using the bullet journal as their one book rules everything. Now that's what I'm doing as well, but I also have a separate sketchbook. I also have a separate, well, it's not really a planner, but I do use a Hobonichi. I'll go into that in a minute. But my everyday carry, my everything goes in this if I don't know where else to put it, or, you know, I just want to put it somewhere, it goes in here. I also treat this as my sketchbook. When I'm talking about being creative in the bullet journal, I'm talking about people like myself, or Burgess does it as well. You know, people who have a creative outlet outside the bullet journal, whether it's art or writing or music or whatever it is. You know, you have a creative outlet outside your bullet journal, and some of that seeps into your bullet journaling as well. And sometimes people would look at that and go, oh, wow, that's more creative than I could do. And that's usually because we have that extra level of creativity outside of our bullet journal. So, for instance, myself, I'm a professional artist. I'm a professional art teacher. That's what I do. So, for me, doing a sketch in my bullet journal is not like doing a sketch in my sketchbook. A sketch in my sketchbook is for learning, creating, making art, a fundamental step in creating something else or a piece of art. When I'm doodling in my sketchbook, you might call it a finished piece of art. For me, it's just doodling because I just want to move my pen around and draw something. Okay? Now, obviously, my sketches in my bullet journal, that obviously means that any sketches I do in my bullet journal might be infinitely better or infinitely more arty than you might do if you are not an artist and you just like doodling, you know, or, you know, you just like doing a bit of sketching occasionally and you're not particularly good at it, but it's what you enjoy, so you do it anyway. And guess what? If you do it enough, you will get better at it. So keep going. that's what I mean by creativity, okay? So arty bullet journaling is the layouts, the what everybody used to think was bullet journaling, and it put some people off because they, oh, I can't do that kind of stuff. Then there's creative bullet journaling, which is bullet journaling for people who already are creative in some way, so it automatically seeps into your bullet journal because we can't do it. Actually, go and watch Burgess's live coffee chat from yesterday, because she explained it perfectly. She really explained exactly how I feel about it. I got so bored just looking at writing. It's not me. I don't want to just be about writing. I wanted to start just being about writing and just being about the bullet journal method. And now that I understand that and I've got it under my wing and I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm picking up speed and it's becoming natural, I'm bored and I want to do more of what I do. So it's kind of merging the bullet journal method with my style of journaling. And then there's, I do the bullet journal, but occasionally I like to do some creative stuff. So this is like people who are not artistic, people who are not creative. They don't consider themselves writers. They don't consider themselves artists. They just have a bullet journal. And every so often they go, you know what? I feel like writing some bad poetry. Or, yeah, I feel like sketching my pot plant. Having a go. You know, it's not something you do all the time. It's not something you do regularly. It's not something you do every day. But you fancy it today. Other types of odd bits of creativity might be doing a quote, making it fancy-ish, or even printing it out, you know, all that kind of stuff. Putting in the odd photo. So there's 3 levels almost. There's the I'm mostly a bullet journaler, but very occasionally I put in a picture because I fancy it, or a sketch. I'm a creative person and I cannot do just this in its own form. I have to do some more. And then there's my bullet journal is my primary outlet for my creativity, and I make it really arty and fun and beautiful. Okay? So find your level and kind of work to it until you feel comfortable, and then explore other options. And if your level is, oh, hell no, I can't be distracted by fancy stickers and stuff, I'm sticking to the bullet journal method as per Ryder Carroll, go for it. If you're like, oh my God, that's so boring, but I want to do something else, go and find your level of creativity that works for you. And don't forget, when I talk about creativity, I'm not talking about art specifically. Okay? It might be art. It might be sketching. It might be the little kawaii characters that people like to draw in their hobonichis. It might be something like Draw Your Day. It might be something completely different like writing short stories or character development, because you're an artist. You're a writer, not an artist. It might be song lyrics because you write music. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be art just because that's what people generally think of when they say, you know, people say, oh, I'm creative. They automatically think, oh, you're an artist. You draw. They get really confused when you go, no, actually, I crochet little cute animals. They're like, huh? That's not art. And you're like, yeah, I didn't say art. I said creativity. Difference. So the thing to remember, I think, with this is, and it's key to how to avoid boredom, okay? In one way, it's think outside the box, and in another, it's put everything in boxes and modulate as you go. Ryder talks about the bullet journal as being modular. It's a modular concept. So you take the bits, the blocks that you like, you know, you take your little box labelled the monthly calendar, you take your little box labelled the daily log, and you bolt them together, and there you go, that's the basic bullet journal. And then you might go, oh, but I need an overall calendar, I like a calendar look, not a list. So I'm going to bolt on an extra calendar. I need an index now because I'm 50 pages in, I can't find anything. Okay, you grab the index and you bolt that on, okay? And you build it as you go. Think of it like Lego bricks. Now, when you get to that point where you're like, okay, bullet journal's working. Bit bored though. That is when you need to start looking for other boxes and say, well, what box can I add that will make my bullet journal more me? What can I add that is worthwhile? And why do I want to add something? It's very easy to fall into the trick of, and again, Burgess put this perfectly last night. I really urge you, if you haven't seen it already, go watch her live stream from yesterday, her coffee chat. It was her birthday too, so wish her happy birthday while you're there. She put it perfectly. She said, you've got to take the bits of the bullet journal method that work for you, and once they do work for you, you have to make it your own. Vicky's talked about this as well. If you're bored with your bullet journal, are you bored with just having the same notebook all the time because you've got 200 fancy notebooks sitting on your shelf and you want a different one? Then change your cover. Go see Vicky's video about journaling freedom. You don't have to use one book all the time, just that. It's about using one book at a time, not one book all the time. Cody's putting links in. Awesome. Thank you, Cody. So today I'm using this one. Tomorrow I might use this one, okay? Or I might use this one, but with this cover because it matches my handbag and I'm going out, you know? Mix and match to what works for you. If you're using a traveller's notebook, you know, everybody gets so hung up on shoving all their inserts inside their traveller's notebook. Why not think about whether you need all those inserts on that day? You know, are you going to be running from meeting to meeting to meeting and then coming home at the end of the day because you're at work all day and literally all you're going to need is your planning and your writing? So why are you carrying your sketchbook around with you? Do you need to? Could you just leave it at home? I mean, you don't have to. I'm just suggesting that this is an option because people forget. And it's so easy to do. You get entrenched in this is my planner. And like Burgess said, oh, here she is. Hi, Burgess. Like Burgess says, sometimes you're not really bored with how you plan. You're not bored with what you're doing in your book. You're just bored with what your book looks like. So you change your cover, you change your handbag, and you go, fancy purple today. Look at that. Off you go. It doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, I'm bored with bullet journaling and therefore I have to be arty about it. Or, oh, therefore I have to go and buy a Hobonichi. Or, oh, therefore I have to go and do this. You know, just because you're bored with your current wardrobe doesn't automatically mean you rush out and buy £300 worth of new clothes, does it? Well, I hope not anyway. If it does, you're in trouble. But just because you're bored with your current wardrobe, if you're bored with it, what do? You pull everything out. You get rid of the stuff that you're fed up with. You try on stuff that you haven't worn in ages. You mix and match stuff. You try things with different stuff. You wear this shirt with this suit to see if it works. You know, can you get away with wearing a casual shirt to work if you're wearing a full tailored suit? Yeah, you probably can, especially in the summer. You seasonalize your clothes. It's okay, it's summer, I'm going to wear some brighter colours. I've got this red suit that I wore to a wedding a couple of years ago. Why not wear that today for the meeting? Why not? I've got to wear a suit anyway, it might as well be colourful. And you switch things up. Then add a scarf and switch things around, exactly. Then you say, okay, I'm missing this, this, and this because I've just got rid of a couple of things that don't fit me, don't suit me, or I haven't worn in 2 years. And then you decide what you need to go and get to add to your wardrobe. And I want you to think about your bullet journal in the same way. So before you start throwing your bullet journal out and essentially go and buy a whole new wardrobe, look at it and say, okay, which bits are working? Which bits are not working? Okay? For me, I am now exactly 1 month in. I started 24th of June with this method, this version, the rider version purist. And it's the 24th of July. So I'm exactly 1 month in now. I'm a week ahead of you guys. I have already added in creativity because I was bored with just looking at writing. I'm visual. I need stimulus, and I'm also dyslexic. I can't deal with just words. I might as well just have a book, you know, like a novel type reading book. I don't like that. I like picture books. I like books with pictures in, because I can learn as much from a picture as I can from the words. That's how my mind works. If you're going to find that distracting, adding non-functional pretty stickers is probably the last thing you want to do. If you find, Carrie talked about she can't deal with having her collections mixed in with her weeks. So what she started doing was, she has her month and she has her dailies, and she sets up her dailies in advance because she knows she's going to use at least one page. She can always go back and add extra bits if she needs it. She's going to use at least one page per day, and then any collections go straight after that. So she effectively has, this is the collections I set up this week, and this is the dailies I used this week. And then next week, dailies, and any collections she's set up that week, or any notes she's had, and so on. So she splits it up. But not, this goes in the front, this goes in the back, this goes in this section. Just, here are all my dailies for this week together, and then here's all the other stuff. I'm doing a similar thing, where I'm doing, here's my monthly stuff for this month, and I'm going to show you how I set up my August so that this makes more sense. But I'm doing, here's all my monthly stuff, and then here's everything else chronologically after that. Because for me, chronologically works. I know I've said before that I never work chronologically, but actually, chronologically is working for me in this format. So where I will go back and backfill spaces with odd bits, like an article I've read, notes from an article, not a book I'm reading that's ongoing, but an article, one-off stuff, one picture, one postcard, one picture from a magazine that I like, here's a big space I've got, I think I'll sketch in it. Those don't have to be chronological. In fact, it's better for me if I don't add them until afterwards. So, here's where I'm up to with mine. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, ask. Mimi likened it to a closet with stuff in it. Yes, exactly. I haven't watched Mimi's latest video. I've missed that one. But she did do one. She has done one on digital that I've seen. And she talked about the digital stuff in a very similar way. You take what works for you and you bolt that all together how you need it. And once that becomes second nature, then you start adding other bits. It's kind of like creating a capsule wardrobe. You decide what you need for your capsule wardrobe and you put together your however many items it is. Is it 12 items, I think, for a capsule wardrobe? Something like that. 15 if you go seasonal. You have your capsule wardrobe. Then you decide, what else do I need? And you add, if I buy, I really like this handbag. If I buy it in 2 different colours, that doubles the amount of outfits I've got. I really like this shirt. If I buy it in 4 different colours, that quadruples the number of outfits I've got. I'm going to Patience. So by taking it in little chunks and only adding little bits that all work together, you end up with something like this. Now, in an ideal world, that means that what you consider a modular bullet journal will be completely different to what I consider a modular bullet journal. But they'll have similarities. So, I think you've seen most of this. I'm still using my index. My index works for me in this format. I actually use the index more now than I was before. Future planning, future index still doesn't really work for me. I think I may just stop using it because I forget it's there. And then I don't really care. I wish the bullet journal companion app had a calendar when I can log my appointments. Well, your appointments go in your events. That's the whole point of it. It's not meant to be an alternative to the bullet journal. It's supposed to be a companion to it. So you log your events, i.e. your appointments, in your bullet journal app, and then later you transfer them to your bullet journal where they should be, or your calendar where they should be. Google Calendar, yeah, that's what I use. The app is only temporary space. Again, it's a module that you can add on to your bullet journal. It's not an alternative to the bullet journal. It's not a version of the bullet journal in digital format. It's just another module you can make use of. The future log module doesn't work for me. Never has, and I think pretty much it never will, because I rapid log stuff, and if I've got stuff that's coming up like August things, I tend to put them on my monthly so that next month I put them on my months. Sorry, I've just realised this is blocking the light. Let me move that out of the way. So, MOT due 12th of August has gone on my July monthly. Anything longer distance than that is either not relevant to write down because it could change any minute, or it's already in he uses Google Calendar. He's already said in several interviews that he uses Google Calendar for his appointments. He slips it into the book, but it's like one line and it's a throwaway. I didn't spot it until like the third time I read through the book. And I was like, oh, hang on a minute. He's talking about moving his events to his appointments calendar. And I was like, what's going on there? What's that? Huh? What does he mean? And then when I watched some interviews with him, he actually said all his appointments are in Google so that he gets reminders, which is what I do as well. No, they're still working on the Android version. It's a little bit behind because he had to find somebody. As far as I know, he built the iPhone version, but he had to find somebody who knew how to code the Android version. So they're a bit behind with the Android version, that's all. For me, it's more important to work backwards. And this is where my Hobonichi comes in. So my Hobonichi is a record of what I've done. It's similar to how he uses the calendar log, this thing. Yeah, I just write future events in the monthly log. Like, if it's for next month, because then when I go through my monthly log and do my migration, like, you know, my next astrology class is August the 12th. So when I do my monthly migration from July to August, I'll go, oh, I better make sure that's in my calendar. Okay, and I'll make sure that it's in my monthly list as well as an event. But if it's like I have to do such and such on the 28th of September, that'll just go in my Google Calendar, because my Google Calendar will remind me before it's due. Because my Google Calendar, I set up my notifications individually. So if it's something on the 28th that I need to prepare for, if there's a deadline, say, I'll set it as the 1st of September. It reminds me. And then when it's reminded me and I've got it in my head that I need to do that and it's in here, September, I need to start working on that over the next few weeks. That becomes part of the planning in the bullet journal. And then I will change the calendar app notification to be like, you know, if it's a deadline, 3 days in advance. If it's an appointment, like an hour before it's due, plus however long it takes me to get there. Yes, he uses this as a memory tracker. And that's what I'm using it for. I'm using it as highlights of the day. Almost like a mini journal. A 1 line a day journal, almost. So what happened today? Oh, well, today... what's the date today? The 24th. So today, the die received Max, which was the commission that I've just done, and I went to USK Stoke at Moorcroft. That's what happened today. So that's what I use this for. I don't use it for appointments. My Hobonichi is my class stuff. So the Patreon videos I do, which are my classes, my study guides, my witchy stuff, anything I do for One Book July, all that kind of stuff, YouTube things. Anything I do, it goes in my Hobonichi, because that way it's all in one place. It's really easy to refer back to. And I've basically got 3 or 4 Hobonichis dating back a couple of years now. So when I go, hang on a minute, we're doing people drawing in August. We've already done people drawing. I think it was in When Frogs Sing 2014. So I can go back to When Frogs Sing 2014. I've got all the information there about what I did, when we did it, how long it took, what we covered. I've even got links to videos written down so that I know what the title of the video is, so I can go into Vimeo and find it if I want to refer to it. Because sometimes I'll do something this month and I'll go, for those of you who were in When Frogs Sing 2014, we already did something similar to this. Here's the video for those who weren't in that class if you want to catch up and just, you know, refresh your memory or whatever. Here's an extra little bit. Or I'll add it afterwards and say, okay, this is what we did. And then I will add on an extra video later. And that's a bonus for the higher tiers then. Yes, I'm using the Avec that you sent me, Brenda. Thank you very much. I was perfectly happy using my redone cousin that I hacked. But yeah, it's handy having the right dates without having to change them. Google Keep is brilliant for note making, yeah. I use Google Keep if I'm out and about. I use Google Keep a lot because the best thing about Google Keep is you can put pictures in. I can take a photo of something like a business card or something like that, or an item that I want to buy, a screenshot from Amazon or something like that, and I can throw it into Google Keep. What I've started doing for that, though, is on this, as part of my monthly, I'm going to go through Google Keep and clear it out, because what I find is a lot of my digital stuff becomes a graveyard. And then you go in there and you go, ooh, I haven't opened that note since 2015. Do I need it? Yeah, Google Keep. I like the fact that it backs up as well. So even if Google Keep is made obsolete, which Google likes to do, it just suddenly goes, oh, we're getting rid of that in the end of the month. It backs up to Google Drive. So if you find when you find something else you want, you can put it into, you can just download it and export it into it. In fact, it exports really nicely into OneNote as well, which is handy. So something I'm doing with my modular design next month, and I'll show you how I set it up, is that I'm going to move all my monthlies together, because it's really annoying having all these tabs with monthly stuff. I'm going to set it up better so that this stuff, because I didn't really need all this space, I just used it up because it was there. This stuff, my astrology stuff, is going to go next to this. So this will be what's happened throughout the month. This will be my astrology. And then I'm going to leave the following 2 pages for August as my task list. Because as you can see, I had to add in extra paper because I ran out of room. So because I'm adding my future stuff to my monthlies as well. So I haven't updated this in a few days because I've been really busy. So all you people who've been DMing me going, aren't you doing any more One Book July videos? 4 people. 4 people. Anybody think you enjoyed this? Yeah, all those people who DM'd me, I was busy. I've been doing a lot of Urban Sketches stuff because the weather's been so nice. We've finally been able to get out. So we've been down at Moorcroft today. This is my vision board, and I just had an idea last night for what I'm going to add into this, for how I think I can get this sorted out. This is my project for August, so I'm not going to go into it right now. What I plan to do, in order to help those of you who do like this method and want to keep it going, is going forward, I'm going to keep showing you additional videos, but it won't be like all the time, every week kind of stuff. It'll be like every other week I'll do you a live one to show you what I'm doing, or a quick one to show you an idea or whatever. And part of that will be how I'm doing this as a creative project, because obviously reorganizing my studio is a visual project. So I need to get that sorted. It's not going to be like this month where it's just been loads of notes. Video notes, book notes, idea notes. It's just been writing. So this time in August, it's going to be a visual project to work on. What else have I changed? Oh, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but Carrie was doing a box on one side of the page. You know, my little box on either side of the page that showed if the page was finished. Carrie put it on one side and broke the box in half. Now, I use a half box to indicate that that page is started, but it's got other stuff that's not finished. It's got open tasks left. Like this. This means that this page has open tasks. But what I've done is put one for each page, and they're both on this side of the page. So now when I'm flipping through, everything is on this side. So my indicator is on this side. My title is on this side. I'm seriously considering going back to doing my titles down the side, because I loved that way of working. I find it really inconvenient to have to keep flipping through this way and reading it up there. It's much easier to just be able to do this and read it here. So I used to write my titles for the page, so I'd have like index there. Ooh. So when I'm flipping through, I can see exactly what's on that page. I do it with my Book of Shadows as well, where I just flip through and I can see exactly what's on every page. I think if I do that, I will not need the index, because I forget to update it and then it's no use. You have to train yourself to update it, and it's kind of... I'm updating it in the hope that I will use it, and I'm not using it because I don't update it regularly. And when I do update it, I don't need to use it because I know what I've written down. It's kind of weird. So I'm hoping to just do away with the index, to be honest, because I don't think I need it. The amount of times I would go back and reference something without just flicking through a book, I don't think I would ever need to to do that. The only stuff I need to do that with is my work stuff, my Patreon stuff, my videos. And like I said, I do that all in the Hobonichi. Because the Hobonichi has the really convenient calendars. You know, I write out... I'll show you my Hobonichi at some point. Yeah, my index is literally catch-22. Absolutely. If I don't do it, I need it. But if I do it, I don't need it because I've just written it down. So that is friction. That is causing friction. And, you know what Ryder says about friction? If it's bad friction, it needs to go. So I've got to find another way of doing it. And I think my easiest way of doing it is the method that I'm used to, which is just putting my information down the page. Which is nice and easy because both of the pages, you know, if this is One Book July, so is this. If this is Urban Sketches, so is this. If this is a daily log, so is this. You know, I only need to look at one side. It's easier and faster for you to flip through and find what you want. Yeah, me too. Because I'm so visual that I know exactly where it is in the book. I know roughly where it is in the thickness of the book. I know pretty much whereabouts on a page it is, and I've usually just got to find out if it's on that page or that page, which takes seconds. So, yeah, I do exactly the same thing. Once I've written stuff down, I've got a really good memory for it because it's visual. This is all stuff that's been updated as I go. Anything that I'm referring to on a regular basis, like this is all astrology stuff about Mercury retrograde. So I keep turning to this page a lot. I just stick a page flag in it and I'll get rid of it when I'm done. Because at the end of the month I won't need that anymore because Mercury retrograde will be over. Anything that I'm not working on currently, I don't need to have a page flag in. And here's a tip for those of you who are dealing with personal stuff and struggling to cover up stuff. Here's your best friend when you're doing journal flips. These ghost post-it notes, the white ones, cut them into slips and stick them on here. Like there's one I stuck over somebody's name. Because it doesn't matter if you see ask KK to set up an astrology meeting. I just don't want to disclose people's names. So I just stick that over the top and scribble on it, and then you can't see the name, but it doesn't interfere with what you're seeing as my bullet journal page. Little tip for you YouTubers there. Obviously, if I had a big chunk of journaling or something that I didn't want to show, I'd just clip the pages together because that's easier. But so all this is all private sessions. It's useful for you to see how I've set it up. So I've got it set up with the names and how many sessions they're having, what the dates are, if they're having 2 sessions, what the second date is. The box says that it's done. I use the half box to show that everything's set up. And then I've got a P here to show that everything has been passworded, which means they can now access it. But you can see the structure, but you can't see the names. Because it's only the names that are important. It's like when you do financial information. It doesn't really matter if you cover the numbers or the actual stuff. You know, if it says £350, who knows what that's for? You know, if it says rent, who knows how much that is? If you've got rent and £350 and you want to hide that, you can cover one or the other. So use a code word or symbol. Yeah, you can if you've got a good enough memory for your code words or symbols. I have a tendency to write people's names as letters, and then I don't know who they are. I'm still adding to my list. I'm up to 31 now on my list. A lot of you don't seem to like making an index, but think of it from the perspective of a few years' time. Yeah, but even then I wouldn't use an index. I don't use an index in books, Hannah. You know, people put indexes and contents and stuff in books. I'll use a contents list at the front. If it's like sections, but I don't use an index at the back. I'd rather flip through the book. See you, Brenda. I'd rather flip through the book and find what I want. And the only things that I do need to access are already indexed in and of themselves in the Hobonichi, and they're indexed by date. I've tried the index and I've tried it in several different ways, and for me, it's a pointless endeavour. I need to find an alternative that works for me. But at the moment, I'm sticking it out until the end of July so that I can start in August. It might be that what I actually need is to have a monthly page and do it by month so that I have a list, you know, this is July's pages, August pages, and do it that way. Maybe that's what I need. I don't know. I need to play about with it and see what works. But what works for me is flipping through the book. And I think just having the name of the page on the side here will make it so much easier for me to just flip through and go, oh yeah, there's what I'm looking for. Did you use the BuJo app then to index the books? I have done, yes. I've even taken a photo of my index and updated it. But that was the only time I've ever looked at the index in the bullet journal app, in all honesty. And I can't, you know, until you just said it, I'd forgotten there even was an index in the bullet journal app, which reminded me that I've gone in about 10 days ago and updated it. If you hadn't reminded me, I probably wouldn't have remembered to update it until Christmas or something, you know. That's the problem. If it's something that I've got to update on a regular basis, I probably won't do it. I've got to do it every day. And it doesn't fit into my everyday because I don't need it in that sense. So, I mean, obviously if you work in a different way or you have a lot of clients and you need to split it up by client and stuff like that, obviously having an index is going to be useful for you. But for me, it's not working. Indexes should be at the back. We'll put it at the back then. Vicky's put hers at the back because it bothers her that she doesn't know how much room she needs to leave. So she starts from the back of the book where the index should be. Index should be at the back. Contents should be at the front. Maybe I just need to relabel my index contents. You know? So that I understand. Maybe that is what I need to do. In fact, that actually makes sense. To call it a contents and not worry about all this, putting page numbers and stuff in. You know, just have like August. August is from here to here. The projects that I'm working on are here and here, you know. Maybe that's what will work for me. Hey, Rach. What I've started doing as part of my reflection is morning and evening writing. It's not, well, I suppose it is written journaling, but I don't think of it as this is my journal time. I journal whenever the hell I feel like it. But I do my reflections at 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. And I make sure that I write at that point, even if it's only one line, because it means that I know I've checked in. It also gives me a chance to look at stuff and jot down ideas or jot down things that come to me. It is more like a table of contents than an index, yeah. So I look at a page now and I go, 11 a.m, 11 p.m. That means I've done my reflections. Because it's just there. It's so visual for me. I did set up my media recommendations. Now, Vicky was talking about this in hers, that she doesn't do this. And the reason she doesn't do it is because if somebody recommends a podcast or something, for instance, and she talked about it in her video, she actually showed it, she would just write podcast and maybe a little bit of information, or, you know, podcast from Rob or whatever, you know, whoever suggested the podcast. She is still fresh in her mind that somebody recommended a podcast and what it's called. So she'll just go and add it to her podcast list on her phone. And then she doesn't need to have a list. Now, I do that if it's something I'm going to listen to straight away. However, this is for stuff that, like, for instance, this podcast, and the way I've set it up, everybody keeps calling it the Alistair method, this, when I've shown them. I don't know what the Alistair method is. I need to go and look it up. But apparently that's what this is, very similar. So I've got podcast, book, as in physical book, film, audiobook. Because sometimes there's a podcast about a book that's a film and an audiobook, and there's several films to watch and stuff like that, because, you know, serial killers. So this one, the podcast, Missing Alice, it's about Alice Tunney by the First Degree. That is a full podcast beginning to end. Okay, it's like an audiobook podcast type thing. It's a whole set. I don't want to listen to that in bits. I want to listen to it all in one go, like an audiobook. Because if I listen to it in bits, just this is what's this week, this is what's next week, I won't remember from one week to the next what the heck is going on. And I'll be like, I don't remember who this person is. I don't remember what this is about. And then I don't finish it because I get bored, or I get frustrated, or I get distracted, or whatever. So a full podcast, it's like TV. It makes more sense in terms of TV. I don't watch TV every week. If I want to watch something, I watch one season. And I don't watch anything else in between. I watch one season. I'm watching Unforgettable Season 2 at the moment. I'm not watching anything else. When I finish Unforgettable Season 2, I will start something else. But I will only watch that because I can't remember what's going on. I'm like, who is this person? What are they doing here? I have no idea. I can't follow a story like that. I have to do it all in one go. That's why I like audiobooks, because I can't read a book over like days, weeks, months, however long it takes me to finish it. But I can finish an audiobook in 2 days. Or within a week. Or I can listen to it daily for a couple of days. You're binging Torchwood. Ugh, I got bored with Torchwood. I don't watch it. I liked the first season, but after that I got a bit bored with it. That happens a lot. I watch the first season, and then round about episode 3, season 2, I go, I'm bored with this now. Or I stop watching halfway through season 2, and I never go back to it. So this is a podcast I want to listen to, but all in one go. This one, Mile Higher by Kendall Ray and Josh, that's one that I wanted to add. So I put it down as a podcast, and I've put a check mark next to it because I've added that and I've started listening to it. It's a modular one. It's one. They don't do multiple, they might do part 1 and part 2, but they don't do like 5 or 6 altogether, or a series altogether. You can watch one at a time. It's like Buffy. You don't have to watch the entire season of Buffy to know what's going on. You can watch one at a time. Now, The Joy of Not Giving an F, which I'm going to read next month, I've put it down because it's a book, and I don't want to read the book, I want to read the audiobook. I want to listen to it next month, but I haven't found the audiobook yet. I need to go and find it, buy it on Audible, get it sorted. Once I have, I'll cross this out and I'll decide when I'm going to listen to it, because then it'll be in my Audible library. So I'm using this for things that I don't want to do yet. It's almost like a media recommendations future log, if you like. The My Favourite Murder book, I put the book in because I want to read it, But I had to wait for the audiobook to come out in the UK because there was a delay. So I had to wait for it. I've now got it. And once I start listening to it, I'll mark that as a task done. I've been reading Chase Darkness With Me by Billy Jensen. And I'm on my second go through it because I'm sure I missed a few bits. So that one is crossed off because I've read it. I started reading it, so I ticked it off. And then when I finished it, I crossed it out. I'm done with that. But I'm reading it again. Does that make sense? My brain works. Squirrels, people. Squirrels. Oh, somebody sent me... Was it... I think it was Mimi sent me... There's a poster of my thing. I don't have ducks. I don't have a row. I have squirrels and they're at a rave. There's a poster of it. I need this poster. I need this poster. I want it on my wall. You're going to watch Buffy because you haven't watched it before. Oh, Buffy's awesome. Angel's better. I know you do a spread per collection. What if you don't fill the whole 2 pages? So what if I don't fill the whole 2 pages? Does it matter? Does it matter if I get towards the end of this book and I'm still only here on this page? No, because I'll just stick something in there. You know, if I find a picture that I like or whatever, or I'll sketch in it or whatever. Or I'll use it for some notes for an article or something. I'll just fill it up when I get near the end of the book if I haven't used both sides. I don't have a fear of wasting paper because I haven't wasted paper. I've already written on the other side of the page, so that page has not been wasted. I've already written on one side of it, so I'm okay. I don't mind that. I'll just, you know, if I get near the end and I know I'm not going to use this, then I'll fill it with something else. Sorry, I'm trying to read. It's really hard to read on this. They've changed the font, I think, and I'm struggling to read it. You saw it too on Facebook. I don't know what you're talking about, so I missed that, I'm afraid. Still too late? Not really. I started late. You didn't miss that much, Shafe. I was out sketching today, so... I've started writing in like this for last Wednesday. I've been a bit busy. Normally I would have done it by now. You don't have a fear of wasting paper, blank pages just bug you. Well, fill them with something then. Doodle in them, or, you know, stick a piece of paper in it, or... You can fill them up towards the end of the book. If you know you're not going to use them, you can start using them up at the end of the book. That's what I plan to do. But I'm not bothered about blank pages. So maybe that's a particular thing you need to address. You know, what can you use those blank pages for? That's why you've got your collections in Google Keep. Yeah, I would never update my collections if they were in Google Keep. I'm an analog girl. I love my tech, but when I'm thinking, my squirrels need analog. Squirrels at a rave, yeah. That's what it's like. Oh, that's what you saw on Facebook. Right, I'm with you now. The poster you saw on Facebook of the squirrels at a rave, yes. I'm with you. See, it comes together eventually. Put visual reminders on the blank pages, yeah. You could. And if you're using an index or you don't need an index, you could just put keepsakes. You know, on the blank pages, maybe you could put in, you know, letters you've had from people or stuff like that. You only keep a tab on the current months. Yeah, I've only got current stuff. I've got my green one is my current monthly astrology. My purple one is my current month, which is why I want to put them together in next month's, because then I'll only need one tab. And then yellow is today. This is just today. The red one is my videos, and the only reason I've got that in here this month is because I'm doing Patreon videos, and I'm doing One Book July videos, and I'm trying to organise my Urban Sketches videos from last month, sorry. So videos is an important one for me. It's kind of like my baby project this month. These are just temporary ones that I'm using until I need them. But all of these, they're just stickies. So when I finished them, this is the one for the Urban Sketches videos. This is the one for the current Mercury retrograde. When Mercury retrograde's over, I'll take that tab off. I don't use permanent tabs for anything. Yet. Whether I will use permanent tabs going forward, I don't know, because I've only done 1 month and a week. I might get to the point where sometime in August I think, oh, I wish I'd put in an August tab and a July tab so I knew where the 2 months started and finished. If that's the case, that's what I'll do. And I might put in a small monthly tab, or I might put, a lot of people just put washi tape, a little bit of washi tape all the way down, so they can flick through and find their months. I might just, you know, on here, put July and then highlight it, so that when I'm flipping through, oh, there's August, there's July. I don't know yet. That's stuff I have to work out as I go forward, because this is very much working it out as I go along. You also move everything forward each month so you don't tend to go backwards. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea, Laura. Just go back and use a rubber stamp to fill spaces. Do something a bit creative. Stick in a picture that you like. You know, add in a letter that you received or something. Stick an envelope to the page and then put stuff in it. Print out a photo. That's a good one, Cody. Especially for your little book. You know, if you get to the point where you've got pages that you know aren't going to be filled up, just print a photo from that month or around that time and just stick it on the page. Because it doesn't have to serve any purpose other than filling up a blank page. I'm using permanent tabs now. I'm not using... Oh, you were using permanent tabs, now you're using washi tape. I do monthly tabs. It's easy for reference if I need to look back later. Yeah. I don't like tabs because they get all crunched and messed up. Especially once you put your books on the shelf. So you pull a book off the shelf and all your tabs are like folded down. It drives me insane. Because what point are they then? So I'd much prefer these because like this one is getting a bit tatty. Actually, my yellow one has lost its colour. My yellow one has virtually lost its colour at the end, look. So I think that's pretty... It's losing its sticky as well. So let's just get rid of that one and pick another one. That's the first one I've replaced since... Well, in a month. That's the first time I've replaced it in a month. So there you go. Now I've got a new tab. That's that sorted. Something I started doing this week, because I thought of a way around it. Last time I said I tried using multiple days, because I keep having this happen. And then I end up going back and putting something in there, and it's kind of annoying because I'm going backwards all the time. This one actually is for that day, and it's something I'm going to do that is relevant to that day, so I am keeping it there. But other stuff, you know, I'm like, well, I don't really want to go back and fill in boxes and spare bits. You know, I don't want to go and put something in there. It's kind of pointless. I'd rather have the blank space. But I'd rather not have the blank space. What I found was previously when I did this, I lost days. I could not find days. So, super simple solution. Don't we love these? You just got to have a solution. So what I did, instead of starting a new day, because this week, you know, you can see this week it's been like one thing every day that I've been doing. This is why I've not been doing videos, because I've been urban sketches. This one I had a day off and I did some journaling. Otherwise this would have been like 2 lines as well, because I had a day off and I went out for a meal with a friend for his birthday. So I didn't see the point in starting new pages for every single one of those. But Nora the librarian does not like not being able to find days. So here's the solution. Because I tried it here, it didn't work. Could not find days. Here's the answer. It's so simple. It's almost like... usually the answers are simple. So once I've finished the page, I'll just go, oh, Friday the 5th of July to Sunday the 7th of July. I deliberately hadn't marked these so that I could go back and do them. Monday the 8th of July to Tuesday the 9th of July. So obvious. So obvious. This was the day I kept losing Thursday. I could not find Thursday. It was driving me insane because I knew there was stuff on there. Wednesday, the 16th of July. Thursday, the 11th. Wednesday, the 10th of July to Thursday, the 11th of July. Problem solved. I haven't updated my daily logging, so that needs to be done. Oh, yes, I have. So I've changed it. I was doing threading. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Hang on. 2 monthly tabs, yeah. Quoted you in a layout on my bullet journal using stamps. Awesome! Oh, did you post it on Instagram? If you did, tag me and I'll come and check it out. That sounds awesome. I use a spread when I think the project or list will grow to that size to reduce having a list dribbled so far throughout the journal. Yeah, I don't like saving pages, but I also don't like having one thing here and something else there, because I like to just flip through my journal and be able to look at it like that and see what's on there. So I would not have done, like, I didn't need to use all this space for this, but because this was astrology, this was going to be astrology. So I just added some quotes and I wrote them across the page instead of writing them smaller. Threading. Now, I've been doing threading all the way through since the beginning because I find it really useful. I was doing, like, this is a daily log page. Here, I had going back to 22, and then over here I had going forward to 35. But the trouble is, if you only flip through this half of the book, you can't see this bit. So you can't see where your next logging page is. So I've started doing this. So it now has 25 backwards and 35 forwards. And now I can see exactly where the pages are. For me, it's just all the important stuff is here. Right here, where I can find it easily when I'm flipping through. And that works better for me than having an index. Maybe it won't by the time I get to, like, page 370. But at page 370, I've only got 30 pages left, so I probably won't care. Because I'll be too excited to buy a new journal. I think I have to try a few things and see. Yeah. Cody is a very special case with her bullet journal. Don't forget she has... Is it ADD or ADHD you have, Cody? I can never remember. I think you're... Are you ADD? Because Burgess is ADHD. And I only remember she's ADHD because she does this when she's filming. She jiggles. So Cody's brain works very differently to everybody else's. Not just like everybody's different, but like Cody's like completely different. You're the only two. Right, okay. I'll remember that now, see? Because I know Burgess is ADHD because she jiggles. So now all I've got to do is go, right, Burgess is the jiggler, so Cody is the one that doesn't have the H. Now I'll remember. Do you also note pages in your index? I talked about the index at the beginning, just before you came in, Shafe. So you need to go and check that after the end. I have been using an index, but indexes bug me. I did talk about the index earlier, so I'm not going to repeat it. But yeah, I have been using an index, and I'm still using an index up until the end of July. And then I will review it for August, because it's not working, and I knew it wasn't going to work. But I've tried it. I've tried it several different ways. It's still not happening. So I'm going to find a better way of doing it for me. That doesn't mean everybody should do it my way. It's just that indexes don't work for me. You're using your bullet index as a table of contents. Yeah, that would work better for me. Just to have, instead of like every page logged, just have like, this is where June runs from here to here, and July runs from here to here. And then all I've got to do is look at the front of the book and go, August is, oh, that's about here, you know? But everybody's different. You have to remember that if the module index as it stands works for you, you add it on. If it doesn't work for you, you leave it off or you change it. Or you create a different version that works for you. This is why it's modular, because you can change your index or the way it happens and do everything else the way the bullet journal system is, as it is. You can be like me and say, okay, well, I'm sticking to the bullet journal system, but I'm sorry, boxes are always going to be tasks. I'm never going to use a dot for a task. It's got to be a box, and I've got to be able to fill it in. I did give the answer, yeah, but I actually talked about it about the index earlier in much more detail. Threading makes sense if you actually did a spread for something, because then you'd see the blank spots. But you literally are just using it in the present moment all the time. You're not using it for future, you're not using it for past, you are just using it for now. So your little window of focus is constantly moving forward with you, which is not the way the bullet journal method in and of itself actually works. That's the way you've developed it to work for you. Because your way, like Ryder had, I don't know if he still has it. He said he outgrew it, but I didn't know you could outgrow it. Maybe he's just learned to mitigate it by using the bullet journal method. His issue was that he could focus, but he was focusing on too many things all at once. So by putting it in places and then being able to focus on one thing at a time worked better for him. Your way of dealing with it is more, if I can find everything that I'm trying to focus on right now, I can focus on it because I'm only focused on this little section. I'm only focused on this period of time. Whereas he was more, I'm focusing on this project and this project and this project and this project, and those run from there to there, and those run from there to there, and those run from there to there. And you're more kind of, I'm focusing on this section here, and it's going with me. So for you, it makes a lot more sense to just work forward. I'm the same way with the box. The dot doesn't work for me either. Yeah, anybody who grew up with PowerPoint at school is used to PowerPoint being, dots are for notes. Do you remember where you found Ryder talking about long-form bullet journaling in your bullet journal? Yeah, it was an article. If you either go on his website or on the blog, he actually did an article, but his titles never match up with what he's written about. It's kind of annoying. But if you look through it, there is an article, I think it was to do with travel journaling. I think. And it was a recent one. It was a very recent one. Because he's been doing his book tour, so there hasn't been any recent articles. Actually, let me just have a look and see if it's still in the list. Articles. Bullet journal method travels. That was the one about giving away books. Travel tips. I think that might be it. I think it might be the travel tips one, where he was talking about long form journaling. Souvenirs, routines, switching time zones, long form journaling. There you go. It's in that article. Yeah, he doesn't talk about long form journaling in the book. But this is the thing. One of the things he says in the book, and he says in several of his interviews, is that, you know, somebody actually said to him, I believe it was in the PlannerCon Europe interview that he did, where do you see bullet journaling being in 5 years' time? And he said, I don't know, because I won't be the same person in 5 years' time, and I would hope my bullet journal wouldn't be the same either. Because the idea is that it changes with you and it adapts to who you are. And if you're always changing and growing, your bullet journal should always be changing and growing, because it should always be, you know, as he says, it meets you where you are. So in 5 years' time, if you're not the same person, which you won't be, your bullet journal won't be the same either. So you can't predict where it's going to be in 5 years' time, because you have no idea. You don't know who you're going to be. I tried the dot, but I kept thinking it was a note or idea because I'm used to the box. Yeah. If that's what you're used to and it causes too much friction to change it, don't bother changing it. If you see the dot and you go, ooh, look how much neater that looks when I do this, and I can change it into a cross or an arrow, and you get all excited, then by all means change it. If it works for you, it works for you. But there's a lot of us still using tick boxes. Hey, Evelyn. Spreads mean I have to thread less. Yes, same for me. And I don't have to look at both sides of the page. That's why I do a full spread as one thing. And if that means I have a blank page, that means I have a blank page. It doesn't bother me. And if it does bother me, I'll just stick a photo in it or something, or use it for notes. Yeah, you don't really need threading, Cody, because you're basically working on yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Again, it's that travelling window of time that you use, as opposed to physically jumping around in pages. She's also, what she doesn't tell you is she's got a phenomenal memory. Once she's written it down, she knows what it says. She never has to look at it again. This is why she doesn't have to keep going back on stuff, because once it's written down, it's in her head. And it's not going anywhere. And then you can focus. Yeah, exactly. Boxes and dots. I've started using a box for a task to do today and a dot for a task that's logged but not yet scheduled. Oh, that's a good idea. That's kind of what I'm doing. I use a box for my tasks, and when I've started them, I cross them halfway through. I colour them halfway. If they're cancelled, I cross them out. If they're moved forward, I draw an arrow to them. If they go to the index, I draw a back arrow. So I use my arrows and things as signifiers. I don't add them to my dots like he does, because I need to be able to see them. So stars and arrows go here in this second column where I can see them. Because again, you know, I flip through like that. So there's one. Whatever that is, that event finished and it went into the index. So what was that? Received 2 new astrology books. Oh, and I already know what that means. I know what the astrology books were, and I know I've lent them out to somebody, and I know that in the index it tells me who I've lent them to. And because I've written it in the index, I know that that's Matthew and Helen. I'm one of those people too. Once I've written it down, I don't need to see it again. Oh. Oh, being creative. What did I add to it? I added some people's ideas that they were adding to it. So I think I had 20 originally. Make garden notes. That was somebody's on the previous stream. Design something. That was Ryder's suggestion, actually. Write an unsent letter. So that's like a journaling exercise or a writing exercise. Overheard or funny stuff, things that kids say. Oh, I think that was Grace's suggestion from previous stream. Mind maps and charts, diagrams and flowcharts. Play word association games. Translate something into another language. That was somebody's suggestion here. Describe a picture in words. That's one of my exercises. Draw a cartoon story. Or watercolour a background and write on it later. That's actually one that Courtney Diaz does. Little Raven Ink. It's quite a common one. A lot of people do it. I don't like doing it, but... I'm still using 1 or 2 pages a day. Well, that's because you've got enormous writing. Your writing is 4-5 times the size of mine. And you've used, what, 130 pages so far for July? I'm up to 70 pages. So my writing is a lot smaller than yours, at least half. So we're about neck and neck. If my writing was the same size as yours, I'd probably have used 140 pages as well. But we're writers. We'd write a lot. Well, you're a writer. I'm more of a graphologist. I do sometimes wonder if I have that compulsion. It starts with graph. I can't remember what it's called. It's a compulsion to write things down constantly. And I do wonder if I have that sometimes, because I write everything down even when I don't need to. Rewatching this live because everyone at work has decided to interrupt me today. Oh no. Can't remember crap. I have to write it down to refer to later. See, once I've written it down, I remember it. But if I don't write it down, it's in the wind. That's why analog works for you. Yeah. You remember what you write, but not what you type. Exactly. I'm exactly the same. And if I write a PDF, like for Patreon or something, I have to write the notes physically. Otherwise, I could write the PDF in about 10 minutes. Boom, done. And then you could ask me tomorrow what the PDF was about, and I'll be like, Scooby-Doo noises. Hypergraphia. Thank you, Lisa. Yes. Hypergraphia is the compulsion to write things down. And I do feel like I have to write things down all the time. Even when I don't need to, I write things down. And it has to be written, it's not like, oh, I must make a note of this. And it can be digital. I have to write it down. It's weird. How often do you look at the bullet journal? Sorry, Shafe, if I keep missing your questions, it's because you don't know the rules. If you ask a question, please write it in caps, because then I don't miss it. I don't always see things if they're not written in caps. How often do you look at the bullet journal? If I don't look at it regularly, I forget everything. Oh, mine's constantly in my hand. It goes everywhere with me. The only place it doesn't go with me is the loo. And honestly, I take my phone with me. Because I live on my own. I carry my phone with me everywhere for safety reasons. My phone is always right next to me. It's here charging at the moment. It's always either in my hand or right next to me on the table. Or on the nearest surface that I have, or in my bag. Always with me, no matter where I go. So that's why I use the bullet journal app, because then I don't have to take my bullet journal to the loo or the shower or out dog walking, because that's slightly inconvenient. So I evidently have that. I write everything down. Yeah. You're the same, Burgess. Yeah, you're not just a writer. You have to physically write everything down. It's like a compulsion. Yeah. It's not just like, oh, I keep a journal. It's like, I must record everything. Record all the things. I think we're good candidates. Definitely. And Cody's getting there now she's discovered that it helps. If not writing, then just moving a pen or pencil on paper. Oh yeah, if I'm not writing, I'm sketching. And if I'm not doing either, I've at least got my pen in my hand. See, I put my water down, I automatically pick up my pen. I can't be without a pen in my hand. It's weird. I don't know how to... My hand doesn't feel complete if I don't have a pen in it. My sisters are always surprised I remember so many things from our childhood. It's because I've kept journals since I was 10. Yeah. And even if you haven't read those journals in 20 years, you still remember it because you remember writing it down. It's weird. Sometimes I don't remember the actual thing, but I remember writing down the thing. Just kind of weird. It's like remembering a memory. And then it gets into philosophy. Like, when you remember something, are you remembering the event or are you remembering the last time you remembered it? And is that why your memory changes over time? Whoa. Writing things helps me remember, process and focus. That's why I love it. Yeah. And the more you find it useful and the more it helps you to remember, process and focus and the better you get at it, the more the compulsion to write everything down will happen. It's almost like being an addict. You know, you get that. Well, I don't suppose we get adrenaline from it, but maybe it is. I don't know. But adrenaline aids memory. I learnt this from watching Unforgettable. Adrenaline aids memory. So when you are in the throes of increasing adrenaline, like a lot of people remember exactly where they were when something happened, but they don't remember what happened immediately after. And it's because a certain amount of adrenaline aids memory, but too much adrenaline causes a blackout. It's really fascinating. If you haven't watched Unforgettable, the first few episodes, I think I'm on episode 3, the first few episodes of Unforgettable season 2 really go in deep into the science of memory, and it's so fascinating. I want to do some more reading on it and make some notes. That's what I plan to do tonight. I admire anyone who can journal. I try so often and can't keep it up. Lisa, you're keeping a bullet journal, aren't you? I think you have too much in your head that this is what journaling is. Try this throughout the day as you're keeping your bullet journal. Instead of only writing tasks or events or notes from work or, whatever, write down other stuff that happens. Even if it's only one line. Like, today is super hot. I just checked the temperature. It's like 28 degrees. Whatever. Is journaling not writing swathes of information on tens of pages? Oh, hell no. Hell no. Journaling can be... Well, look, there's a chunk of journaling. Here's a journal. Would it benefit me to include long-form journaling at reflection times? Make the long-form journaling portions more about beginning and ending my day? ? Treat it like bookends to capture everything in one daily record. Then expand later. So that's a journal note. I also do art journaling, which is nothing to do with any of this. If you want really good examples of art journaling, go and check out By Bun if you don't watch her already. She will do amazing art spreads of like teeth coming out of things, or she did one that was loads and loads and loads of envelopes all over the page. And that was a memory or a record of a journal or a journal entry, really, of a day that she went to the post office and had a horrendous anxiety attack. And that's how she captures it in visual format. For me, it's a bit of both. In fact, for me, it's a bit of everything. I need to... Yeah, you don't have to do it every day. You don't have to do it pages and pages. You don't have to do... you don't have to anything. Is the answer. You don't have to do anything. If what works for you is making short little notes, like so-and-so's toddler started talking today, first word was pizza. You know, if that's a journal entry for you, then that's fine. What's wrong with that? You don't have to write loads and loads and loads and loads of pages for it to be a journal. That's why I like calling this a bullet journal. Because a journal is not... You know, depending on where you live and what dictionary you use, journal means different things. But essentially, a journal is a record of days. It's a daily record. It's a daily log. It literally comes from the French de jour, of the day. It's similar to the Japanese Book of Days. You know, it's the same thing. It's just a French word. So whatever you're writing down is your record of your day. Do you write things in your bullet journal? Things other than to-dos, etc. I've recorded last night's epic thunderstorm. Boris becoming PM. Oh God, is he? Oh, actually, that's not so bad. It could be worse. It could be the other guy. Oh God, when Boris Johnson is the best version or the best option. How about... Oh, let's not go there. Yeah, I've recorded about... Well, I haven't yet, but I will be later because I'm a bit behind. I've been out all day, so I didn't do my reflection this morning. So everything is like, oh, I haven't done what I need to do today. Because it was either get up an hour early and do it, or go to bed, or stay in bed until when I needed to get up, because my dogs were asleep until the epic thunderstorm last night, and then they trampled all over my head and I didn't get any sleep. But yeah, I'll do that. And for instance, Lisa, like the epic thunderstorm, this is Tuesday, and I would probably put it in here. But I might just put, like, let's do it, shall we? Let's have a look. Stickers. I love my stickers. I know I've got a thunderstorm sticker somewhere. Oh, thunderstorm sticker. There we go. So this is part of my journaling. Now I know I've got other stuff I want to make note of in there. So I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to put... Ooh, what time did it start? About 2 a.m.-ish? 2 a.m. I put a little box with a time in for my journal entries. Because that's what I do. Ish. Massive thunderstorm. With blue, yes, blue, the sky lit up, navy blue, was gorgeous, strobe lightning. I've never seen anything like it. Now, I'll add some more to that later, but that's an example of what I would have written. For me, I will write a little bit more. Boris becoming PM. Maddie! I don't really care, but I might do a quick sketch of him because he's got hilarious hair. So that'll be quite funny to do a quick sketch of him in my journal because I like drawing people's heads. That's kind of what I do. Another one is I finished a commission this week. Maddie! Stop it! I finished a commission this week and it just arrived with the owner this morning. So now I can show it, which means I can print out a picture of it and put it in my journal. And I can write a little bit about it underneath, what it was like painting it, what I did, what the reception was for it, what I would change about it next time. You know, the kind of stuff is kind of like a working review, because that's what I do professionally. So I would always review it and say, well, next time I would do such and such. Or I struggled with, well, actually with this one, I really enjoyed the whole process because I knew the dog. But there was a section of about an hour and a half in the middle where I could not get the ginger right. And it was driving me insane. And I was this close to just putting it down and going, you know what? Sod it. I'm not doing it. It almost got thrown in the corner in a huff. And I asked for an extension. But I didn't. I pursued. I kept going with it. I added in some metallic and boom, it worked. So now, when I put the picture in, I will note, you know, struggled to make the gingers work, put in the base covers, put in the lighter colours, then I added some metallics and it worked, and I worked backwards to add shading, all that kind of stuff. You do all that every day, well then you're journaling. My theory on journaling is you don't have to do it every day. That's how I've been doing it this summer. Yeah, I always remember a quote, I think it's Stephen King, said, if you keep a journal, don't feel bad about the gaps. No, it's not Stephen King, it's Anais Nin. Don't feel bad about gaps in your journal, because not journaling says as much about your life as journaling does. It means you were too busy. You were too busy doing other stuff. You were living your life. La la la, that week, whatever. It must have been a good week because I didn't journal. Must have been busy. You're trying to forget Boris Johnson's become PM. Well, yeah, it could have been worse. It could have been the other guy. And then we'd have no NHS, because between him and Trump, they would have sold it to the Russians. But anyway, I digress. That's why you're using a mini bullet journal. If you use a regular A5, you get composted? I don't think you meant composted. To fill every page with all things. You get... I'm trying to think what a word would be that would fit that, because you obviously got spell checked. You would feel compelled. Is that what you mean? You would feel compelled to fill every page with all the things. So you just use a little journal. Yeah. I don't always write everything longhand, but when I do, that should be a meme, Burgess. I abbreviate things or jot down a note. Yeah, same. I use a lot of text speak, actually, when I'm journaling. I use a lot of text speak. Like, I very rarely write with. I put W/. Sometimes, if I have a lot of ideas coming to me all at once, I go into shorthand, which is really entertaining because I can write shorthand, but I can't read shorthand. So then I don't know what I've put later. If I sit down and write my long form journal, I can write a bit more, including how I feel about things. Right, so you write just the basic capture in here, and if you want to long form journal, you do it in a journal. See, if I want to do something, say I've got something here, like an event or something, that I want to do some long form journaling about, I just put a plus sign. That's my plus, and then I put the page number, and then I'll go and journal about it on another page, which is where I use up these gaps, if there are any. The other day I read a comment on a journaling video saying, I don't know how to, what are the rules? There are no rules, just journal. Correct. You have a special symbol for your journal note. Yeah. I write a note and then I use my plus sign and a page, and if I do long form journaling, I write it and I just make a note of it. I've kept a note of the weather every day for 25 years. Is that journaling? Yeah, it's logging the days, isn't it? Sorry, I moved my thing down too far and now I've lost where I was. I wish I would have been a true bullet journaler earlier. I rarely have time to sit down and long form journal, but I'm much better off just jotting down notes from the day. Yeah, same. I used to always feel like I had to write it long form journaling. Even though I prefer not to, I always felt like I should. And then that led me to doing creative journaling because I didn't want to write that much. Somehow I've ended up back at Lisa talking about is journaling not swathes of writing. So I've gone way down and then way back up. So bear with me. I've been using the trick with putting the time in a box and writing a few sentences or a paragraph. Yeah, that's what I do. And I like going back and seeing, you know, like these days I was too busy. But there's nothing to stop me when I'm doing my reflection tonight. If I feel like I want to write about these days, I can put a plus sign and a page number and go somewhere here and just write about those days if I feel that I need to log them. Or, you know, put some pictures in from the event or whatever. I can do a journal page dedicated to it. It doesn't have to be here. But it's also quite nice to go back through your pages and look at them and go, oh, 2 p.m, that's a journal entry. What did I put there, you know? The fact that you got all that on 3.5 lines is amazing to me. The fact that you got all that on 3.5 lines is amazing. Oh, something I read out, I assume that, I've got the smallest writing in the world. Yeah, it is really interesting to have the weather every day for the last 25 years. Who else would know what the weather was like on the 4th of March, 1983? I bet you'd know. You'd be able to go and find it in a second. Of course that's journaling. It's keeping a record of days. Use a special symbol. Okay, now I've got to a bit that I've already done. I'm loving the bullet journal so much more than now that I've figured out it's a journal. Yeah. That really kicked it off for you, didn't it, Aveline? My little moment of oh my God, it's not called the bullet planner, it's called the bullet journal. That doesn't mean you can't plan in it though, remember. Can you plan in a bullet journal? Yes. Is a bullet journal a planner? No. It's a journal. But that doesn't mean you can't plan in it. I'm an accidental journaler. Oh, maybe an incidental journaler. I'm studying psychology and every time we go into memory it blows my mind. Oh God, it's fascinating. I would love at some point to read more about it because I find memory... And the thing I'm enjoying about Unforgettable is she has this rare condition where she can't forget anything. The only time she can forget something is if she has this over-adrenaline thing. Which is explained in the season 2 first couple of episodes, how it works. But too much adrenaline means you forget. So that's the only time she forgets stuff. But her mum and her aunt both have dementia. So it's such a strange... It's so unique. I mean, it's a procedural. It's cops and robbers. But underneath it is this whole running thing of how she uses memory to solve stuff and to solve puzzles, and then the puzzle that's created by the lack of memory of her mum, or that her mum has. It's fascinating seeing it from both sides. Whoever's written it obviously has really studied it and understands the science behind it. Because as you go through the series, they're explaining the science to you through the stories that they tell. In my bullet journal, I make a note about the day. If it's a memory I want to keep, I put that in my journal or art journal. But that journal is more of a memory journal. It can be months with no entries. Yeah, absolutely. That's what mine is like. And also, I can journal about something in my art journal that happened months ago because I've got a note of it. I've made a note of it in here, or, well, in any journal that I've had, I would have made a note of stuff. I'm just more organised with it now. The bullet journal hasn't really changed what I do or how I do it. It's reorganised how I do it. So I can find things better. It makes more sense rather than just being a bit here and a bit there and a bit, you know. I've been doing this kind of journaling for a long time, but not with this structure, not with this method. And it's the method that has made it make more sense to me. So I feel more organised and I'm better able to plan. You had the same blue where you were, Rachel. Yeah. It was amazing. Like really, really bright blue lightning. I've never seen anything like it. The whole sky literally lit up electric blue. When you think of blue LEDs, that's the colour it was going. Never seen it before. Again, that's something I made a note of. Because I want to look it up and see if there's a reason. Is there a phenomenon that causes that? Was it something special about that storm, or was it just, you know, happened to be the way the light was that day? I'd love to know more about how you're integrating long-form journaling in the bullet journal. She's doing videos, Lynn. Make sure you follow her because she's been doing videos. Curious what you meant by now that I see it's a journal. Oh, I think she was talking about like when I had my serendipity moment of, oh, it's not actually a planner. Because I got caught up in this whole, the arty BuJo thing, but without the arty bit. I, like a lot of people, in fact, I think like the majority of people, looked at Ryder's videos and went, oh, I get it, and off you went. And it became a task list. Because that's what we were all used to, was it just being a task list. It's a planner, it's a task list. You start with tasks. The minute he started his first video with write down your tasks, everybody went, oh, it's a planner. And it's not until we all read the book that we went, no, hang on a minute, it's a bullet journal, the clue is in the name. Or it's a journal, the clue is in the name. Hadn't started my log yet, but a quick phone call to my mum and she says it was sunny, dry with a cold breeze. So either your mum's got a really good memory or she writes it all down as well. A lot of people seem to treat their bullet journal as a DIY agenda book. Yeah. Assuming you mean agenda in the way that I understand agenda, as in what I have to do for the next few days, yes, a lot of people do. They treat it like a planner. And it's not really a planner, it's about logging what's happening. And, dare I say it, being present. It's about logging the present. It's not about planning stuff or wallowing in the past. It's about being in the present. But because you're always being in the present, that means you have the past and you also have the future. You have the ability to design what's going. Again, the clue's on the front of the book. But we all missed it. Still trying to figure out what I want or need out of mine. Yeah, I'm still working it out as well. Ryder actually says it takes 2 to 3 months to actually feel comfortable with it, to the point where you can work out what you need. So I'm not expecting to actually be in any place where I really understand what I need until around September, which will probably be when I finish this book, to be honest. So once I get to the end of this book, I will have an idea of what I need, what I really need in the next book. So my next bullet journal should be a lot better than this one. This one is kind of a work in progress. Well, they're always a work in progress, but I've always kept a journal but struggled with the whole keeping a planner thing, but not anymore. Yeah. Because it's integrating it all in together. It's a really novel way of doing it. It's not something I've seen before. You know, a lot of these systems, like the planner system or the journal system, you know, the quick fix that's going to do it all for you, the new app that's going to solve all your problems, you know, you look at them and you go, well, hang on a minute, this is just the GTD system rewritten, or this is the Zen to Done system rewritten. didn't Steve what's his name talk about this sometime and he called it something different, you know. And the bullet journal is not like that. It's a completely new type of way of doing things. So it's quite a revelation for a lot of us, I think. Really helped you to be more mindful about your tasks. Yes. What are you doing and why are you doing it? And if you're doing it, do you really need to write it down? It's like Burgess was saying yesterday. If you need to write down, you know, she doesn't write down, I need to do some laundry. She writes down, I put in a load of laundry. Because then when she gets to a review, if she's got distracted and forgotten that she put the laundry in, she'll know to take it out and then she won't have to wash it again because it started to smell. I keep negativity out of my book. I only allow health-related negativity in my book. Oh, I don't care. It's all life, so it all goes in. But I'm not particularly a negative person anyway, so for me it's not really an issue. I'm very Jupiter. I'm very, oh, la la la, it'll be fine. I thought it was an ambulance until I looked out. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, it did look like police flashing lights. I thought it was police flashing lights. I journal quite a bit. I'm a writer and I sometimes do morning pages, so I have a great deal of written material. I'm eager to reorganise how I manage all the notebooks. I used to do morning pages, and honestly, I found the best way to deal with morning pages as and when I want to write them. I only do them when I feel like I need to. Since I've started bullet journaling, I haven't felt like I need to. The bullet journal does it for me a lot quicker without the 3 pages of writing. But if I do feel like I need to do morning pages for a couple of days, I just have a composition notebook and I just write in it. And it doesn't matter when I write in it or how I write in it, I just do my 3 pages. Well, I don't do 3 pages. I do 1 page and I do 3 lines on a page, which is the same thing. But I'm not writing my tiny little writing on 3 pages. But I don't keep my morning pages. My morning pages are just word vomit, basically, and I don't want to keep that. So when I'm finished the composition notebook, I just chuck it in the recycling. I don't even keep it because it's not important. If it's important, it goes in my bullet journal now. If I need to keep it, it goes in my bullet journal. Stephanie is a writer. Stephanie has a book. If you're a vegan, Stephanie has a book out. Go hit her up. It's available on Amazon, I think, isn't it, Steph? Used to start with morning pages and then do the morning reflection straight after. Oof, that's a lot. That's getting up at crack of dawn stuff. I'm going to do a video, by the way. It's going to be entitled Getting Up at 5 a.m. Bugger That. Well, it might not be called that because I might get demonetized for that one. But it will be something along those lines. Getting up at 5 a.m. and why I don't do it. Reorganised, yes. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Reorganising what you do as opposed to changing what you do. Keep moving. Never used my bullet journal as just a task list. My takeaway from the first video was you put it all in there. Yes. But I think a lot of us missed it. You're one of the few that spotted it. Most of us watched it and what we took away from it was we write our tasks down. Therefore, it's a planner. For so long, I thought of it as a place for my tasks and to plan things. Yeah. Now I'm being more present and just rapid logging. I find I can do both without 8 different books. Absolutely. Exactly. I have several different books, but I have an art journal where I do art stuff, proper art, because it requires different paper. That's why it's in a different book. I have 2 or 3 of them because I like using different paper when I make art. I don't need 3 of them. I've got 3 of them. One of them is an altered book, one is plain paper, and one is watercolour paper. And soon I'll have another one which will be the mixed media paper because I'm trying it as a review item. I have a sketchbook, but I only have 2 sketchbooks. I have one big sketchbook. No, I have 3 sketchbooks. I tell a lie. I have this big sketchbook, which is cartridge paper, which I do ink work in. I have a moleskin sketchbook that's this size, that's watercolour paper, which I do my watercolour and gouache in. And then I have a portrait version of this, because this is landscape, so, you know, this opens widthways. I've got another one that opens normally like this because I like both formats. But for me, having multiple sketchbooks is about the difference in paper and the difference in format. For everything else, there's a bullet journal. So literally everything else goes in here now, with the sole exception of appointments and things and scheduled events, timed events, reminders that I have to do at a specific time are duplicated in my Google thing, so that Google Calendar, so that it reminds me. My shopping list is in Google Keep because I don't see the point in taking up space in here when I wouldn't take this shopping with me. And anything that goes into my bullet journal app, because I don't have this with me, and then it goes into here later. But everything is in here now. That's how I've gone through 70 odd pages with tiny writing. And I didn't really use it that much last week. If I'd used it as much as I normally do in a week, I probably would be up to about 100 pages by now. I think it's Miss Vicky B who keeps a burn book. She does. She has a place to vent. She doesn't destroy it though. She keeps it. It's actually designed like the burn book from Mean Girls, is it? The one with Lindsay Lohan. It actually looks like the burn book. You can see it at the end of her videos. She's got a picture of it. And that's where she puts all her rants and vents and things. And that's the only place that that's the burn book. When she really goes off on one, it goes in the burn book. What initially attracted me to bullet journaling? Ooh, I'm only at the 7:30 mark. I'm 7 minutes behind. Excellent. What initially attracted me to bullet journaling is that it provides structure while being completely flexible. Absolutely. That's what I like. There's structure if you need it, and if you don't need it, you don't have to use it. But at the same time, it kind of creates a structure on its own without you having to worry about it. It's unique. It's absolutely unique as a system. I've never seen anything like it, and I think that literally is just because it came from somebody who needed something completely unique. And he just happens to be good at designing stuff and explaining it to other people. I used to have 3 Filofaxes, a digital task list, a journal and something else, and it drove you insane. Yeah. If having that many different books drives you insane, you've got to find a different way. If having 15 different planners, like Miss Vicky B uses several different planners. Even during one book month, she uses several different planners because she has so many different hats. She's a mum. She's a nurse. She does teaching. She does videos on YouTube. She runs Patreon now as well. She's got all these different hats that she wears. It's like she's got 5 different part-time jobs. If I had to run something like that, I would have 5 different planners as well. As it is, I run everything through my bullet journal, and then my stuff that I need to be able to access easily goes into my Hobonichi after the fact, once I know the information that I need to keep. Because until I've actually done a class or a video and that's finished and uploaded, I don't know exactly what we've done that day. So I always review everything and go back and go, well, the plan was we were going to do this, but, technical difficulties, ran out of time, blah, blah, blah. Or, somebody asked a question about this, we went off on a tangent, something like that. I plan a class, and somebody will ask a question that's way more interesting to answer than the stuff that I had planned. So I'm like, you know what? There's today's lesson plan. What were you saying? Keep going. You know, let's talk about this one. Because I'm all for changing things as you go along. And that's what I like about the bullet journal. I don't have to have or feel like I have a plan for the day unless I need one. Speaking of laundry, I split it into 10 steps for today's entry. Yeah, sometimes you need to be reminded. I don't need to be reminded about laundry until it's time to put it away. That's the only task, that's the only laundry-based task that goes on my list. Put away the laundry, because otherwise it would never get done. I'm one of those people who is perfectly capable of doing laundry every day and getting it all the way to the point where it ends up on the kitchen table. And then I get dressed from the kitchen table. Oh, it's scrolled crazy again. Hang on. I've lost my place. There it is. Same Burgess. I miss our old machine that I used to sing a little song. This one just clicks off so I forget about it. I've missed what Burgess said. I don't know what that refers to. Oh, washing machines. Yes, I know what you mean, Eveline. Mine used to do a little and it would not stop until you actually went and switched it off and did something with it. It's like my microwave does the same. It goes beep, beep, beep when it's finished. And if you don't answer it in 3 minutes, it goes beep, beep, beep. And it keeps going until you actually go and turn it off. It's a great way of not forgetting. I actually find it enjoyable to cross out stuff that I wrote down as a thought or potential to do when I decide I actually don't care enough to do it. It's very liberating. Oh, yeah. It's also really handy because you think of things, then you go, hang on a minute, didn't I think about doing that last month? What happened about that? And then you can go back and look at it and go, oh, I decided I didn't care enough and I crossed it out. Awesome. Some things I have to write down so I don't forget I'm in the middle of doing it. Yeah, same. Well, they started talking and then I had to scroll back up and now I'm on 7:33 in the chat logs and it's 19:42. So, yeah, I was 7 minutes behind, but I lost my place, so now I'm 12. I don't do morning pages either. No, I don't feel the need to do morning pages anymore, unless I wake up with something on my mind or if something's bothering me. But then I would rather do nighttime pages, actually. I you know, just the idea of getting up and having to function enough to write 3 pages. Seriously? What the who now? I need coffee and I can barely manage to make that first thing in the morning. Are you crazy? This is why I don't get up at 5 a.m. Because if I got up at 5 a.m, I still wouldn't wake up until 10. So why not stay in bed till 9 and then get up and wander around doing basics like having a shower and taking the dogs for a walk, and then wake up at 10 and go, oh, I can start work now. There's no need to get up early to be productive. No. The only reason to get up early to be productive is if you're a morning person. If you are a morning person, but you're also incredibly lazy, then yes, absolutely, you should be making yourself get up at whatever your 5 a.m. time is, whether it's 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. or just before the kids go to school or whatever. But if you're a nighttime person and you don't have to be up first thing in the morning, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just stay up till 2 a.m? I can be just as productive between 10 p.m. at night and 2 a.m. as I would be if I was a morning person getting up at 5 a.m. till 8 a.m. I can get just as much done. It's still 3-hour window. When I'm awake, I'm alert and I know what's going on. And I have peace and quiet to do it. I struggle with morning pages just doing the word vomit. It always works into a fiction idea or plans for something, haven't been able to make them throwaways. Ah, right, okay. Yeah, if it always turns into something for you, then that's different. The idea of morning pages is just to get rid of the dross and wake your brain up. But if yours always turns into something else, then either you don't need to do it, or you don't need to do 3 pages of it. And it's just something that you need to tell yourself you're doing in order to start doing something else and turn it into something else. Without those morning pages, would you actually sit down and come up with ideas for fiction first thing in the morning, every morning? Because then it's, you know, that's what gets you... It's like doing a warm-up almost for you then. Because it turns into something else. It's like going for a walk and then thinking, oh, you know, I might as well jog back. Why would anybody do that? I don't know. Takes all kind and takes all times. Yep. We all work differently. We all have the same brains, but we all use them in very, very different ways. Because we all have different personalities. We all have different lives. We all have different needs. I don't really need to do longhand journaling because I already have one. And I don't need to write things, but I'm thinking I need to try BuJo like Rose that I use twice a day. Yeah, I think actually, Cody, something like that for you, because you've tried morning pages. I couldn't imagine you doing morning pages. I couldn't imagine you focusing for 3 pages every single day. It might last for a couple of days and then I don't think you'd do it. But to sit down every morning and every evening at a set time and bookend your day, even if it only splits out kind of imaginary. I mean, for me, it bookends my day. I do my 11 a.m. reflection before I start work, even if I've been doing bits of work first. Once I've done my morning reflection and my bullet journal, then I start work proper. And at 9:30 at night, if I haven't finished work by then, I damn well should have done. So I will stop and I will do my reflections. And the only time I will carry on work after that is if I've got something that's really urgent and I'm still working on it, or if it's something that's creative and I'm enjoying working on it anyway and it doesn't really feel like work. But my working day for my job, I stick to 11 a.m. reflection. As soon as I've finished that, whether it's 1 o'clock or 11:30, I start work. And then I finish work round about 9:30ish when my next reflection is due. And for you, it might help you to focus on when your productive time is. And of course, if you find that you forget, you just set alarms. I mean, that's the bullet journal app does that anyway. But, you know, there's nothing to stop you setting an alarm on your phone. Just in the normal alarms section. And then that means you can change it each day. So you could say, well, okay, I've done my morning reflection. Tonight I'm going out for dinner, so I'll do it before I go. Or tonight I'm not doing anything. I plan to do some journaling and stuff, so I'll do it later when I finish journaling, and I'll aim to finish by 10. You know, you can change it on a daily basis then. Google Keep is where I put stuff I don't need to keep, yes. Interestingly, either stuff that I don't need to keep or stuff that I do need to keep. Like the password for my Wi-Fi. If I wrote that down somewhere, I would never have any idea where it was. So I took a photo of it and I put it in Google Keep. So every time I go in Google Keep, I see a photo of my Wi-Fi password and I go, oh, that's where I put it. It's like being reminded every single day. It's like 51st dates, you know, when he does the TV thing. This is who you are and this is where we are. And by the way, you're married with a child who's 7. You know. That's what Google Keep is like for me. You know that thing that you can never find when you need it? Here it is. This is where you put it. Is there a place I can DM you? Oh, Stephanie. Okay. Sometimes envy my mum who can adapt to any sleep schedule. Yeah, I can to a certain extent. I need to get 4 hours at least. I have to have 4 hours, but it doesn't matter if I have like 4 hours and then I'm awake for like 8 hours and then I have another 4 hours and then I'm awake for 12 hours or whatever. You know, I can do that. But I can't be like, you must get up at 5 a.m. every morning. I'm like, no. That would last for about 2 days. And I can't guarantee I would get out of bed on the second morning. In fact, I can't guarantee I'd get out of bed in the first morning. I'm like a cat. If I need a nap, I will go and have a nap. Bonus of working from home. I just tell my family that I live... I've lost my thing again. This thing is so sensitive. Are you in top chat or... No, I'm in live chat. And I always keep it scrolled up. Hey, Vicky! From 10 minutes ago. Oh, I'm going to skip down a bit. I'm going to skip down. Oh, here's one. Dinner's ready, so I'm off. Oh, Eveline left 10 minutes ago. Okay, bye. See, this is why I don't like going back up and trying to read. Because I can't read that fast. This is why I do audiobooks. And why I have Cody, who tells me if I've missed something important. I love starting my morning with my BuJo. I do. I like starting it with my BuJo and I like ending it with my BuJo. But just because I get up and out of bed at 9 o'clock and take the dogs out, say... I mean, I don't have a set get up time. I get up when I wake up. And if I'm not awake and out of bed by 10, my alarm goes off. But I'm usually up. Sometimes Maddie wakes me up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I can't get back to sleep, so I'll stay up. But it doesn't happen very often. So I don't do my bullet journaling the minute I get up, and I don't do it right before I go to bed. But I do it within that time period of... You know, this is my morning stuff and this is my nighttime stuff before I go to bed. I do it in that period, but I'm not regimental about it. I did morning pages, but I found I was repeating myself all the time. Yeah, same. I do that with brain dumps too. It's just the same word vomit over and over again. I think my daughter might do morning pages in the evening. Yeah, I do better in the evening. If I need to clear my head, if I've got a lot going on and I need to clear my head, I will set myself times to sit down and write in the evening and say, right, I'm going to write until I run out of things. But I can't do the you must write 3 pages and no more, no less. It's too regimented. But to say every day I'm going to sit down at this time and write, and if it comes out as half a line, it comes out as half a line, and if it's 12 pages, then it's 12 pages, that I'm okay with. But you have to adapt everything to you. That's why I really enjoy the bullet journal method, because it's so easy to adapt. You can adapt one module or change one module completely. It doesn't affect anything else. Romanys Ramblers. Yes, that's my new name for my patrons. I keep forgetting to use the hashtag, but yeah, that's what I've started calling my patrons, Romanys Ramblers. Patrons and subscribers, you know. Because, you know, you do that whole patrons, Patreon people, students, and the people in my class, and YouTube followers. And but I don't like calling them followers, so I'll call them subscribers. And then there's all the people I follow on I have on Instagram. Romanys Ramblers. That's what we are now. Well, that's what you are anyway. I'm just the Rambler. Brilliant. Perhaps I don't need to do morning pages as prescribed. Yeah. No, you just need the routine, it sounds like. You just need to make sure that every morning you get up and start writing. And if that writing starts with reams of crap, to get to the bit that you suddenly get to and think, oh, hang on a minute, I've got an idea, then, you know, like a warm-up. Exactly. what if you... Here's an idea, Lynn. What if you wrote on loose leaf paper? So you can get rid of the pages that you don't need to keep, and you can keep the ones that you do like. Like maybe use a disc-bound system like this. You could use a disc-bound system and some printer paper and just do your morning pages on there, you know. And when you get to a point where you're like, oh, well, hang on a minute. This is all dross, but I want to keep this bit. So you can literally just tear off the bit that you don't want to keep and get rid of it. And then you keep this bit. And then you can refile it and go, oh, well, this idea is for this, so I can put it into that section. Maybe that would work for you better. To work on loose leaves and then just be able to tear your pages up and get rid of the crap. Instead of working in a book. You're like my partner, he needs coffee before he can do anything. Yeah, I need coffee before I can make coffee. If I run out of coffee in the morning, I never allow myself to run out of coffee. I always keep ready-made coffee sachets in the cupboard because I am not safe to drive until I've had coffee. If I have to go out and get coffee, I need to have had coffee first. So I never allow myself to run out of coffee. I always have a sachet in the cupboard. Once you're up, your brain's on. No. Once I'm up, I'm up. And I'm awake. But my brain switches on around about 10 o'clock. It's definitely on a timer. You can't do them in the evening, though, because they're your warm-up. Yeah. But you write however many pages you want. Right. As if 3 pages is enough for you, Steph. The other thing is, if you don't like writing, like some people don't actually like writing. She talks about having to write them rather than type them, and I think that's to do with the analog thing. But also, you could dictate your morning pages. If that's how you think, if you verbal diarrhea better than you do written diarrhea, then why not articulate it that way and then edit out the bits, chop out the bits that you want to keep. And keep a verbal record. That could work for some people too. How much you fit on a page depends on the size of your writing. Absolutely. You're about to starve to death. Yeah, me too. I didn't plan to be on for this long. Another epic 3-parter. This is why I don't go back and read questions. I just, put questions and things in capital letters and then I see them. Coffee, the black fluid of life, yeah. Well, water is the most important thing, because with water you make coffee. I've done loose leaf, but didn't think of tearing them up. I like that idea. Yeah. You'd have to do it in a system that would work, like a disc-bound system or a ring-bound system or something like that. Or even just, piles that you clip together with a bulldog clip. But yeah, you could tear off, especially if you only write on one side of it, you could certainly tear up bits. And if you're keeping the bits, if you're keeping bits that you tear out and it's plain on the other side, then you've got room to expand on ideas as well when you come back to them later. So you can keep it all together. Worth a try. Coffee calms you down. You're just weird. No, actually, coffee calms me down, but it gets my brain working, but it helps me focus. Some days I don't even fill half a page and end with a cuss word. A big one. I've done that a few times. Other days you're unstoppable and you can't stop. Yeah. I write on both sides of the page the more I think about it, but don't want to sidetrack you. No, you don't have to write on both sides of the page though. You could. You use loose leaf paper, okay? So anything you tear out to throw away tomorrow, you just scribble out the stuff that you don't want to keep. Turn it over and start writing on that tomorrow. And add another page at the end. then you can tear that up as well. But you already know which side is relevant because you've crossed out what's not relevant. You could even go as far as getting a big black Sharpie and just all the way through it. So visually, it's like, boom, that's the right side. Boom, that's the wrong side. Boom, I haven't written on this yet. How about that? Oh, I'm full of ideas. Whether any of them will work or not is another matter. But yeah, I'm good at solutions. Solutions I can do. INTP. Right. I've reached the end of my chat. Finally. Took forever. But I don't mind because, you know, I haven't done a video this week because I've been busy. So I am going to do a video on astrology in the bullet journal before the end of the month and the stoicism thing, because a lot of people were like, oh, that sounds interesting. What's that about? So that's the two areas that everybody's said, oh, I'd like to hear more about that. So I'm going to make sure I put those in before the end of July. But I have a lot to do, so don't assume that there's going to be a video every single day. Plus, I'm trying to work out my own bullet journal as well. You know, I don't know everything there is to know about the bullet journal. I am not the great guru, okay? I just had a lot of ideas and went, oh, I know! Let's do a video. And then, oh, I have some more. Let's do another video. Still don't get enough astrology to do it yourself. Yeah. Well, don't forget, I teach astrology, so it's only going to be the basics of, because people keep saying, well, how do you put astrology into your bullet journal and what purpose does it serve and so on? How do you use it with your planning? But I'm not going to teach you how to do it. I'm just going to show you how I do it. If that makes sense. Like, I show you how to do basic stuff on here, and I actually a better version on Twitch. I do live streams and I do, you know, here's me painting. I'm painting a picture today, and you see how I'm doing it, but I'm not teaching you how to do it. Yeah? So I'll do the same with astrology. I will tell you what I do. I will talk about how I use it. But I'm not going to get into, oh, well, you know, if you're this, then you need to do this. And this is how you find your ascendant and stuff like that. That's what I teach over on Patreon. If you want to learn that, it's all over there. Go find it. The basics, just the study guides of what to look for and how to find it, are the $5 tier. And if you want the additional video that explains what I know about it as well, then that's the $10 tier. And if you want to do the art that goes with it too, that's the $15 tier. So it's all split up. You just have to look and see what you want to do. But if you just want the basics of, well, I know a bit of astrology, I just want to see what you do with it, that's what I will be covering in my YouTube on astrology. So I'll show you what I've done, and I'll show you how I've been using it. But don't get the idea that I'm going to start teaching astrology on YouTube, because I'm not. I already do that over on Patreon. I teach tarot too, by the way, in case you're interested. And I will do one on tarot as well. But that will probably be in August, because not so many people are interested in how you do tarot in a bullet journal, because it doesn't really pertain to planning so much. Or, yeah. Because at the moment, the focus on bullet journal is, but how do I plan in it when it's a journal? How do I integrate? How do I re-see it as not just a planner, you know? So I've got the tarot stuff doesn't really help with planning and organising and anything like that, so that's going to be separate. Current version, write it all in a journal, cross out the crap. That's pretty much what I do, to be honest. But if you did it in loose leaf paper, you could recycle the crap. Might just kickstart me into looking into it. Don't think you're talking about astrology, because you're already in the astrology group, Steph. You're already doing it. You've missed a lot. But you're already doing the astrology. And you've got it for last year as well, because you've bought the class every year, so it's all... When I say Patreon, that is basically my When Frogs Sing class stuff. So if you've bought this class, which you have, I'm just wrapping up, Risha. But don't worry, you can refresh in a minute. And watch from the beginning. We've been here about 3 hours. It's like... It took me that long to get through the comments. Right, I'm going now. I don't care if you add any more. I don't care if you add any more to it. I'm not looking. La la la. I'm stopping now. I will see you again soon, but I'm not sure when. I will definitely be on Twitch on Friday morning, because it's going to be a hot one. So I'm not going anywhere Friday. I do have some footage for a bullet journal, so there might be one tomorrow, but don't count on it, because that depends on me actually getting around to editing it tonight, and it's 8 o'clock and I haven't even eaten yet, so don't count on that happening. But I might be able to do it first thing tomorrow. So it has been really hot today. Yeah, same. We've been out doing urban sketches. It's been quite nice, actually. We found a nice shady spot. Okay, that's it. Bye for now.